What's going on, everybody? It's Corbin. I know it's been a long time since I've done a long form video. I've been posting shorts and reels here and there, but haven't done a full video in a while. It's been a minute. It's been kind of actually a crazy few months here. For starters, I turned 30. And that's just like really hard for me to wrap my head around that is the number I am at right now. And we just got back from traveling for my birthday. I have work and my own side business. So it's just been like really, really busy. And we filmed this video a couple months ago. It's a long video that I've been trying to edit on the side, but we just, like I said, I've been busy. And this is a video that I'm really excited for because not only are we talking about this really awesome game, Split Fiction, that we're going to be talking in depth about, but I filmed this with Lisa, my girlfriend. I have been wanting her to be in a video for a very long time, and I love this kind of like discussion style podcast that we did. If this is a kind of style that you like and you want us to try this out in the future, comment down below, like this video. I'm still going to be doing videos like this in this nature where I'm talking to the camera, but I don't know, there might be times where like I might want to do like a discussion-based video with someone that I know, and it was just fun doing this with Lisa, the love of my life. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this review of Split Fiction. What's going on, guys? It is Corbin, and we're doing a video tonight that I'm really excited to be doing because this is the first video that I have my girlfriend Lisa on. You have been mentioned a few times in other videos when I talk about like movies that we watched, and I talk about like how you felt about the movie.
I mean, I don't think necessarily I would be in any of your like toy review, collectible review videos.
Mm-hmm. There was one video that we did. I had to force you to do this because I thought it would be fun, where we went to Buc-ee's and stuff like that. But you were a good sport about it.
Yeah, scripts aren't my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And TikTok's not my thing.
I think this was like this was like when we were going to Florida, right? You were meeting my parents for the first time. My dad, at least.
Yeah, I think so.
And then I was like, okay, we're going to Buc-ee's. I know Buc-ee's is like this like whole thing. Like, we need to make a video about this. It's a good opportunity because like I think Buc-ee's is like what, an hour and a half away from us.
It did kill some time in the car.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. But no, I've been looking forward to this because like we're talking about a game tonight that you and I both played. It's from Hazelight Studios, who did It Takes Two, which
is also great.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. But the game that we're talking about is Split Fiction. So yeah, this is from Hazelight Studios. It's the same studio that brought us It Takes Two, and it's the same director, Joseph Fares, who is becoming like this very prominent figure in like the video game industry. Like, we'll get into some of the crazy stuff he's said.
Can you swear here? Can you swear? Okay. F the Oscars, you know? F the Oscars! F you! I'll tell you!
He's just like this like guy who, like, when he's up on stage at the Game Awards and like he's telling us about like this new game that his company has made, he's always so excited and everything, and he clearly loves video games and stuff.
I mean, I feel like that's an appropriate response. Shouldn't everybody who like is in this industry be excited about what you do?
Yeah, but I just feel like he clearly, like, I think like when some people like go up on stage to like, you know, tell about this game that they've made, they try to keep it formal, they try to be like somewhat professional, but like this guy is like, this game's fucking awesome and everything. And it's just like, it's, he clearly is a character when it comes to like promoting his games and everything.
I'm a passionate man. Nobody will ever, even if I do AAA, this is an independent game, but even if I do that, it will always be the game I want it to be.
All right. But yeah, let's talk about Split Fiction. So Lisa, what is this game about?
Oh, now it's on me since you couldn't do it in the first
we're
5 takes.
We're redoing this take because I could not, like, I mean, I know it's just hard because like I'm talking to another person. So could you please explain the game?
Okay, so basically the game is these two women realize that they're about to be published writers, Mio and Zoe, and so they are invited along with all these other writers to Raider Publishing to, I guess, work out the deal of their books that they've written. However, when they get there, they are told that they, like, what is it even they're really told? Like, what was his reasoning of why they would get this?
It's not even like they are told that they have a chance to get published. They are told.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
It's a machine that this publishing company is working. This is the weird part about the game. It's a machine that they get into, and they are able to live the stories that they have created, which is, there's so many questions with that. So like, number one, these writers are invited to this facility and most of them don't question this at all. They're just like, okay, let's get in this machine. But one of the characters, Mio, is the only one who is apprehensive. Like, wait a second. I thought we were just like, submitting our stories. Why are we getting in this machine and everything?
Also, I guess we need to clarify. Each person gets to pick between Mio or Zoe of which character you want to be. And so you were definitely adamant about being Mio. And it became very funny, really, because, I mean, I didn't care that much. But your reasoning had to do with what you knew based off of the game trailer and, like, what you thought you were going to be. And it was more so funny because personality-wise, we were flipped in the characters.
Well, okay, so from what I saw in the trailer, the Mio character is into sci-fi. I like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't like fantasy. I thought that I was going to appreciate the sci-fi element a little bit more. And Zoe is a fantasy writer. So she writes stuff very similar to, like, the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, just like, Middle Earth, medieval type of stuff. Like that's what she writes. So that's for the split fiction. That's the whole point of the game.
I guess it was more so just as we were learning their personalities and as we were seeing the beginning of the game, like I paused it multiple times to be like, this isn't you. You wouldn't be this person. You would have totally been Zoe, who was super excited. Let's go. I'm getting my story published.
I think, and I guess we can't really talk about this without talking about like how we are as a couple, but like I feel like I'm the more like extrovert in this relationship, and you're the one who maybe questions like maybe we shouldn't do this, or like you're the one who
the reasonable thinking.
Like, hold on a second, Corbin. Like the characters that we picked clearly did not resonate with us. Like maybe the style of gameplay we liked, but like in terms of characters, I am more like Zoe than I am Mio.
Yeah, I mean, I was just getting at the point that because of how the game rolls out, you don't necessarily have to pick a character based off of your initial reasoning of thinking that you're gonna like the sci-fi aspect more, therefore you should pick Mio.
Right.
Like I think you could have fun on either character because you'll still get to do both of them.
In terms of like the gameplay though, I am happy that I picked Mio, and we'll get to that later. It involves dragons. Yeah. So what happens is there's some circumstances where Mio tries to escape and she's accidentally pushed into Zoe's bubble, and now they're in this machine together, and they're going back and forth with past stories that they've written, where sometimes they're in Mio's story, which is a complete sci-fi story, and then they're in Zoe's story, which is a fantasy story with like, trolls and giants and stuff like that. And it's very interesting and a good balance, because also what happens in the game, if you're playing like a sci-fi level, like it's a full-on level, there will be these, what do they call? I think they're called glitches or whatever. They're like side missions or whatever. They'll find like a glitch, and then just for a brief moment, for like maybe like 10 or 15 minutes, you'll explore kind of this short story that Zoe has written, and explore that for a little bit if you're missing the fantasy element of the game, and then you'll go back to like the sci-fi level that you were at. So there's a good balance in terms of like making sure that you're getting the best of both worlds in terms of like the sci-fi and the fantasy element.
Yeah, and I guess you kind of have to explain that like the characters, as they're going through this initial story after they get pushed into their like bubble thing together, they at this point don't really know what's going on either. So they're more so just like, okay, I guess we have to complete these stories, to which each character is recognizing like, this is something I wrote a long time ago. This isn't what I was just coming in to get published about. So they're just kind of following their story and the narratives of what they know they previously wrote. To which is then they start to slowly discover what it is that Raider Publish is doing in the first place, or like why they're even there.
It's also an interesting like way of learning about the characters, because some of the stories that they are experiencing are stories that they have written up to earliest days of them being children and stuff like that. So there's like a very humorous level. I think it's Zoe's level, where like they are pigs and they fart rainbows and stuff like that.
Yes.
There's a lot of room.
That one gets dark.
Yeah, there's a lot because of they get turned into hot dogs.
Yes.
Yeah. You got very somber in your face. It leaves a lot of room for the game to do stuff like that, because basically like this is like an open canvas where like if someone had an idea, it's clear that they just put that in the game, because there's so many, it's a plot that allows you to like have these different elements. And it's like, what if we like did a level where like someone was drawing the characters? I think that was like your favorite one.
That was one of my favorites, yeah. I think though, even though like they kind of feel random in some sense, like the pigs level, they are giving insight into like the character's past. So obviously that one was like a cherished childhood memory with her and her sister as she was growing up and being raised on a farm. So it gives like an insight more so into the characters and just kind of like how they were raised as well.
And the game has a very like nice way of introducing this dynamic where you have like this extroverted character like Zoe, who recognizes that this is a situation where they're being manipulated, but is also having fun with this. And she's like reminiscing about stories that she wrote with her twin sister. And then Mio is like, no, I just want to get out of here. Like, and it creates kind of like this, like, almost like confrontation and friction between the characters. And I think those are like the kind of the best stories that you can implement into co-op games like this. And I think this is a good way to segue into It Takes Two and talk a little bit about that, because this is from the same creators. So It Takes Two is obviously like a game that you and I both like reminisce on, because I think it was the second game that you and I beat together.
Oh yeah, it was the second one.
Because the first one was Super Mario
But
Wonder.
I would say this was definitely much harder than Super Mario Wonder.
Split Fiction?
No, It Takes Two.
It Takes Two, okay.
What I would say would be a progression. Super Mario Wonder was an ease-in to the co-op games.
Right. What is our consensus about It Takes Two?
That we liked it.
Well, we liked it, but like clearly, like I remember like when we were playing it, I remember thinking that it was like I love the game, like, and I thought it was so fun playing it with you. I just thought it was way too long.
It was too long.
Yeah.
I think where Split Fiction wins over It Takes Two has to do with just like nothing feels like the same. You're always kind of constantly changing. I remember in It Takes Two, there was a spot where we were having to collect pages for the book, or like different pieces of
the Book of Love.
It wasn't the Book of Love. No, it was the letter. There was a letter you were piecing together.
Oh,
and you had to collect
their
the
daughter.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, It Takes Two, you play as a married couple who are considering getting divorced, and they have a daughter who calls upon the Book of Love to fix her parents' marriage. And it's this very sweet and real story, and they're trying to piece together a letter.
They're trying to piece together a letter that they're thinking is going to tell them how to get turned back into humans from the dolls they were turned into. But I just remember like every time we were getting a piece of that, we were just like, okay, we're ready to move on. It's like, oh no, now you got to do this too. And it just felt like you were repeating the same thing over and over again. Like it felt like a very long section, versus Split Fiction, like you were kind of splitting between these different storylines a little bit faster. But even when you didn't feel like you were doing necessarily the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I feel like It Takes Two, like I said, I think I love the story a little bit more in It Takes Two, because there are very like very real and adult themes in terms of like how a child perceives like their parents splitting up and everything. Like I said, I thought it was just like there wasn't an expectation set as to when the game ended. And I think it was like also from a story element where it's like when the parents are turned into these dolls, there's kind of like this sense of urgency, like, oh, we got to turn back into humans, and our daughter's alone in this house. And I think that's like what got to me is like, oh yeah, that like let's finish this game. Whereas with Split Fiction, I almost didn't want it to end. Like the game introduces like all of these different levels that are just so creative. And again, it's just such a perfect balance for if you get tired of like a sci-fi level, or even if like you just love the sci-fi stuff and you switch over to the fantasy stuff and you're like, oh no, but then you're like, oh, wait a second, we get to ride dragons and stuff like that. This is so cool. It takes the best parts of like those genres and really utilizes them to the fullest and everything. And I think, I don't know. I just like, like I said, I love the story of It Takes Two. And the themes of that game, but in terms of a video game, like the gameplay, I love Split Fiction. I think it's much better.
I mean, It Takes Two will also always just be special to us because it was the beginning of our relationship when we played it. It was definitely harder in terms of a co-op game, when I am not as video game savvy as you are, as many of the couples who tried to play that game, not everyone completes it. So we did complete it. But I think part of just us playing it was what made it special too. But yeah, the story of it is amazing. But yeah, it just felt a little too long at certain parts. It definitely took us a lot longer to finish, I think, than Split Fiction, or at least it felt like it did.
I love like when because like it Takes Two is one of those games where it's like when you hear, like when I heard about the game, it's like it's kind of marketed as like, oh, play this with your girlfriend or whatever, or at least a friend. But it was more like, so like if you're a couple, you should play this game. And I remember like I think it came out like 2021 or 2022, something like that. And I never played it because this is how it was marketed. And then you came into my life and I'm like, oh, we can play this game. You brought it up.
We can finally play this game. Well,
Yeah.
I had seen playthroughs too, and I hadn't played it, but no.
Isn't that magical? It's like, oh, I can play this game now.
Well, I mean, you still could have played the game,
Right, but it's like there's more.
But you waited for me.
I waited for and then it's nice continuing this kind of experience with Split Fiction and everything. So yeah, going back to like the actual plot of the game, it's really interesting also playing the game because there's clearly subtext about like, you know, what's going on in our world right now in terms of like, you know, creativity, and there is nudges about AI and stuff like that.
I think it's an important conversation for everybody, but I think for us, considering we are both in creative industries, we each have like a different kind of relationship with this. It's interesting because I remember, it might have been like a couple years ago, probably when this game was starting in development, I would guess. I remember there would be the start of like the AI where you can start uploading your photo and then it's going to create an artistic rendering in some style of yourself. Do you remember these? And like people were posting them all over
Right,
Facebook.
I did that. Yeah, I did that.
Okay. I never wanted to do all that. And I knew, I was like, that looks suspicious. But I remember that becoming a huge conversation at that very stage of people talking about like, okay, well, how is it doing this? And people started coming up with, oh, it's taking all this stuff that's referencing on the internet and creating, basically merging it all together to create something new.
It's a sponge. It's like taking information. It's almost like it's artificial intelligence. It's almost becoming an entity and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so then it started this conversation of like, for real artists and creators who are making this stuff, like, where do you draw a line? Like, are they stealing my work? Are they allowed to be doing this? And now am I going to start potentially losing jobs to some that AI is going to do?
And that's kind of what the game touches on, is that this company is actually inviting these people out to their facility, and as they're in these machines, they're actually committing intellectual property theft, essentially, where it's like, oh, we're gonna like take your stories and everything, and the characters recognize like, you know, what they're doing, and that's why they're going through all their stories to essentially like, you know, preserve them and like keep them sanctioned in their minds and stuff like that, which is like, you know, it creates like the urgency of like, oh, we need to play through this story so that way it's kept away from this company.
Yeah, because once they get through, right, once they finish each of like the glitch sections, then it's preserved their story so that it can't be stolen. But I think it's such an interesting nod to creativity in general. Because I mean, if you think of like, if that was a real thing of them stealing like all your ideas, then really like, what's the point of like creators in general? But it is the balance of, as a creator, you obviously take inspiration from stuff, but you turn it into something new. And I loved what the game did with all of the other like video game references and nods to it, because it was taking something that people recognize and starting to turn it into something new. And I think it like really speaks nicely to the point of the story in general.
This is clearly like a celebration of video games. Like there were so many nods of like games. I'm like, that's Sergeant Johnson from Halo. Like that's clearly, that's what that is. And then this was very surprising. There's one level in particular, a glitch level, that is SSX tricky.
Oh, that was probably the best glitch level.
Like,
I did win though, by the way. Just going to put it out.
Did you actually win?
I did win.
Oh, I think you did.
Roll the B-roll.
Yep.
I won.
Yep, you won that. Yep. Oh, shoot, I forgot about that. But, and this is going to get into another topic about things that we struggled on in the game. I think that there's so many memes about like, you know, your girlfriend playing like Split Fiction with you, or even with It Takes Two, where there's so many memes, so many relatable things where like it's fun that you're playing with your girlfriend, but like your girlfriend who
Your
doesn't,
girlfriend sucks at video games.
You don't play video games a whole lot. Like,
That's such a nice way of putting it.
well, I mean,
I stand here for all the females who had to play the video games.
So when we first started the game, you had a little bit of issues with jumping and depth perception, like trying to like get from point A to point B, like jumping on something.
Well, actually, okay, the jumping wasn't as bad. The hardest thing, and I think I speak for many people, is that you have to move and turn the camera at the same time. That's 2 thumbs moving, and that is very hard.
Any video game, babe.
But for people who don't play video games, that's not normal. So like that's where we struggle. Most of these playthroughs you're seeing, you see one person's doing it really well and the other person is jumping and looking a different direction. That's how all of them go. Mm-hmm. But we got there, and I think It Takes Two definitely helped. I was not that bad.
No, you were not. And I think definitely, like, you know, it's not like you don't play video games. You do play them. We play a lot of Nintendo stuff together.
I'm just not a gamer.
Right. You're
There's no Discord for me.
Right. This, like, I am the gamer in this relationship. It's not that you're incompetent. It's just like you're not like you don't play.
It's not
a
like
whole
you're
lot.
a failure. It could be worse. It could have been worse.
But it was worse when there is a flying level that
I was not good
very
at
much
flying.
struggled on. It was it kites?
Oh yeah, it was the kite level. Yep,
Yeah.
It was the kites. Yep.
What was going on there? You were struggling a lot. I was being
up
so
was
patient.
Down was up, and
okay, the inverted axis.
But even once I had that, I just couldn't get it. I don't know what it was. It was unfortunately
so
the first clip of it didn't even make the cut.
The iPad like ran out of battery. This is the stupid thing. Also, this is completely irrelevant to the video, but I just thought I'd mention how I got this footage. So I recently purchased an Elgato 4K 60, I believe. I think that's what it is.
Not sponsored.
Well, clearly not after what I'm about to say. I tried plugging it into my MacBook to record the gameplay and, you know, using the HDMI, stuff like that, plug it in the MacBook to record some good gameplay. I was not able to get like past 24 frames per second. I thought that was incredibly weird. That's the whole point of the capture card. I looked this up and I was so astonished. I showed you like the next morning. I was like, babe, check this out. I plugged this thing into my iPad and I was able to get this crisp amount of footage. And I just thought that was the craziest thing in the world that an iPad could get that amount of stuff and a MacBook couldn't. I had to take the iPad each time that like we wanted to like preserve like gigabytes on my iPad and like plug it into my MacBook to transfer the footage. It was just so stupid.
Well, yeah, it was the annoying part that I guessed of you're going to have to make sure, one, you got battery, and two, that you're constantly moving stuff back and forth. But it worked.
It worked. I just like, it's just frustrating. I'm glad that option is there. It's just frustrating that I have like a $3,000 laptop and like this doesn't work. Like, why?
You're gonna have to take it up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, let's talk about the dentist.
Oh shit, the dentist.
This was probably, what was fun about this one was Mio's probably only like fun one, if you put it in that way.
It's the only one that showcases her childhood essence.
Yeah, like you get into this level and at first you're like, oh, it's going to be another Zoe's. And then you're like shocked and you're like, wait a minute, this is Mio.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're like these little teeth and you're like just jumping through your candy land.
Yeah.
You realize it's Mio's as soon as you get to the boss. Because then all of a sudden it turns back into this like terrifying thing.
This is going to flip. Like, just like the pig level. Like, you know, you're playing this like pig level and everything. And then you see like what that story's trying to say. It's like, oh, okay. It's the game has like this interesting way of like flipping these like very childlike wonders and turning it into nightmare fuel, essentially.
Yes. The teeth were fun until the dentist came out. I feel like that was another one of those, like, it was written into the game. It's like just a very relatable thing for people. Similar to the terms and conditions, like while you're doing like a dentist. Like it was just, I don't know, I guess it made sense for how it was written of like just giving backstory and something people would relate to in general. I want to touch on the one that you weren't good at. Since we already talked about what
so
I wasn't
you weren't good
at
at the flying. Okay, yeah, spit it out.
He wasn't good at the pinball. The pinball was super fun, though.
It was very fun.
But it was hard.
I was surprised. The physics of that were really good. It felt like you were playing an actual pinball game. And obviously, I was Mio, so I was responsible for, like, hitting the levers and everything. This made me realize that I am not the best at pinball. You've taken me to a pinball place before, and I love those machines. I love how, like, there's different themes of pinballs, and I don't know who, like, because there's people who clearly collect pinball machines, like, who are just like, I love, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy pinball machines, or like the Deadpool pinball machine. I can't imagine, like, having those, like, in a basement or whatever, but there are people who like that.
There are people like that.
Will I do that in the near future? No, I will just go to a bar to play a pinball game. But, like, this made me realize I am shit at pinball.
I mean, it is slightly different from real pinball because obviously this is a video game, but, like, it was just, you weren't good at, like, the timing of when to hit the levers.
You have to open up. Yeah, there's, like,
you're, like, opening and closing stuff at the same time.
Yeah, like passageways and stuff like that. So yes, that was the part where I was like, this is my kite flying equivalent to Lisa. That I was not good at the pinball. No.
And you thought you were gonna get this video without me bringing it up. I don't know about you, but, like, there was a lot of character progression with both of them.
There was.
I feel like for a good chunk of the beginning, like, I was not a fan of some of these character choices, and maybe it's because, like, the writers wanted to make these characters polar opposites, and so some of, like, the decisions that were being made just seemed kind of dumb within the situation. But over time, like, you slowly start liking these characters a little bit more as they start, like, working together and realizing, like, hey, we're gonna need each other to figure this out.
I'll just say it up front. At first, my character Mio is kind of a bitch.
Yeah, she was mean, and, like, you would think that realistically in this situation, even Zoe kind of played dumb for a bit. Like, Zoe's just, like, living it up, having the time of her life, which I get, but you realize something wrong is happening.
Right.
And it takes a little bit of time for that to realize.
But she makes a lot of good points. So here's what's up. So, like, they're in Zoe's level, one of the fantasy worlds. And Zoe is explaining to Mio the background of why she made this story, because she thinks that it could be helpful with trying to get out of the situation. And Mio's like, I don't want to hear about that. I just want to, like, move forward. And it's just like, it's just so disclosed for the sake of being disclosed. Like,
I think it's because you slowly start to learn Mio's story and why she is the way she is. So I think they just they were just really, like, nail on the head in terms of, like, we're gonna be exactly this stereotypical kind of, I'm a, like, blocked off person. I don't need anybody's help.
It's even visible to see that, like, when the first scene is them on an elevator, and, like, Zoe's just, like, talking about, like, oh yeah, I'm really excited to be here, like, they called me and, like, listen, I don't want to talk to you. Like, it's just like, just so mean and everything. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And I understand, like, you want to create, like, some friction and split fiction. See what I did there?
I saw what you did there.
But, like, it just, like, how far are you gonna go with a character, like, being so contrasted with one character at that point where you just start not liking them?
No, I see. Yeah, I mean, it probably took, like, 2 to 3 chapters before they started, like, or Mio really started agreeing with, like, hey, maybe we should learn. Actually, you know what? It might not really have been till the true, like, subconscious level is when I think she really opened up.
The game does a good job at explaining why these characters are the way they are, and we're gonna get into spoilers now. So I'll start with Zoe. Zoe is very bubbly and trying to talk to people because she had a twin sister at a young age who drowned, and Zoe feels responsible for that, and she's trying to be, like, you know, optimistic and open to talking to people and everything, and trying to find, like, a connection with people because she lost that one true connection, her twin sister, and everything. When you find that out, it's incredibly sad. And then here comes, like, someone who doesn't want to build that connection at first because she's so reserved because of some issues going on with her family. Her dad is suffering from, like, an illness, and it really kind of explains, like, why this character is so closed off and relies only on her There's even a boss battle where like she has to fight herself. Like, what did you think the meaning behind that was? It was like more like fighting the urge to like rely heavily on yourself and like reach out to others.
I took it more as she was fighting like, I don't know, like her past self. Well, because the voice that like you hear throughout that level is like, I think you put me down here, like you locked me up.
Like she's sheltering herself
I
from
think,
like
I think
any
it's
human
like,
connection.
It's either like feeling more closed off kind of thing. It's kind of how I took it, which I think you're kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's more just like the idea of like closing yourself off from like any human connection. It's just interesting that they picked the realm of like fighting yourself as like
I mean, I think we called it though. We thought that while we were, I feel like there were certain things that we kind of knew, like we knew something was up with.
I knew it was her. I just didn't think I didn't think she was going to fight herself. Like, yeah. I just thought that was interesting. But like, it's like, symbolism. Great.
Yeah.
Art.
Now so that level though is probably in my top like 2 for levels. The jail.
Because it was Metroid.
Because I just loved the Metroid aspect. I didn't even play Metroid. Like I played the co-op version of Metroid, which was nothing. I never played like the true storyline of Metroid, but I loved the scene was fun. The Metroid aspect of like just the power-ups with the balls and all that was fun. It was just a very cool level. And that one also had a lot of more like puzzle related things too that I enjoyed. Because even though I am not as game savvy, I will say I was good at figuring out some of these puzzles of like the mechanics of maneuvering stuff as well.
Each level that you go on, the characters have different upgrades. It's very similar to It Takes Two, where like I can do this and you can do this. And the game does like a very good job at like relying on the other person to move forward. It's not like you can leave someone behind. You need each other to like move on in the game. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about this secret level later on.
Secret level.
But there is one humorous part, and I love how they put this in here. And I think like this is why this company is so good at co-op games. So there is a part, it's one of the first levels where you are in a
Hey, let's talk about the motorcycle. No.
Yeah, the motorcycle. Yes. Yeah. So
there's
a motorcycle chase scene where I'm driving, and this is where I was envious that like I didn't get to play as your character because I was looking at your split screen and I was like, that's hilarious. I'm driving the motorcycle and you're trying to hack a phone. And there's like all these like password verifications and like, hey, pick the right image and stuff like that.
Pick like was it a giraffe or something? It was something weird. Like it was all those robot kind of images. Prove you're not.
I'm not a robot. Yeah.
But also I even loved the best part of it was when you had to sign the terms and conditions. And so like everybody who normally goes and does that, they just hit sign. And this game brought back the whole, oh no, you have to read through them all. So I'm sitting here like scrolling through all of these terms and conditions to get through there. I don't think we even did it all in time. We still crashed the motorcycle. But that was probably the funniest part of this game, of just like I can't believe they threw this in here, but you're so happy they did. It's such a relatable thing that everyone deals with.
Now, I will say that there is one level where I was like, okay, I'm so glad that I picked Mio. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this.
I do know where you're going.
There is a level where you get to basically raise dragons. And the dragons have different abilities. My dragon technically flew. Well, okay, he glided. That's the leeway of saying like he doesn't fly, he just mine flew. Let's be real. Mine flew across like wherever we were. What did yours do, Lisa?
What did it do? It like attached the tail, right? Is that what it did?
It rolled.
Oh yeah, well it rolled, but it also you could attach and like crawl up stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this level though is one of my favorite levels. Like it was.
I think it's my favorite level too.
In terms of story writing and like, it was still a very fun level. The downside is just like if you're gonna be a dragon, you gotta fly. Like that was one where I'm just like, come on. I mean, I did fly at the end.
Yeah, but that's more of like not a cut scene, but it's like it's within the level.
It was part of like the boss, like as you're raising the dragons.
Right.
But yeah, for the majority of it, I rolled.
Yeah.
And I wanted to fly. That was probably the only power up where I'm just like, man, we should have just both flown.
I like we talked about before, this game is more difficult than It Takes Two. I like the one level that we had issues with was we're in a story that involves being on like this dangerous game show where you can die and stuff.
That was a hard one.
That was probably the hardest. Well, okay, it's not the secret level's the hardest one, but in terms of like
Story game.
the story, yeah, this is the hardest one because you have to pass an item across the level towards each other, and you have to like maneuver certain things and everything, and it's just
Well, yeah, you're not only just throwing something, you're throwing a bomb that's about to explode if you hold it too long, and you're jumping through lasers. This also goes back to what I said earlier, though, about like me and other non-gamer people. This relies heavily on moving your camera back and forth as you're moving. So this becomes extra difficult of making sure you're timing. I'm surprised we beat it as fast as we did, because I feel like we didn't spend, like, we did it many times, but I don't feel like this game we ever had to like put it down in the way we did It Takes Two, because we're like, this is gonna be too much.
like we need a break.
Yeah, we need a break from this.
The game is so fun and interesting to the point where it's like I don't want to get off the couch. I think that's like the difference with this is that like it's so engaging. What was my favorite sci-fi level? I can't really remember like my favorite. Was it the red and blue one? There's a level where like you have to like I'm red and you're blue and we can shoot things.
You have to shoot your colors.
I think, yeah, that one. The thing about this game is that there's so many stories to keep track of. Like, it's not necessarily a con. Like, okay, all of these levels could easily be their own game, I feel. Like, there were so many that were just so fun, but like there is
some might be more mini games.
There's that con of like, you get so used to playing this level, like this is so fun, this is great. Then you go to the next level, which is probably going to be equally or more fun, but it's like, oh no, I just left this behind. And I think there's a little bit of like sadness with that sometimes.
Okay, so I think so you're constantly going back between sci-fi and the fantasy. And I think overall, in terms of like playing a game and something that's super exciting, I decided that I liked more of Mio's storylines, like the sci-fi. Maybe it's because there was a lot more anticipation with some of these levels and a lot more like higher stakes in what you're doing versus Zoe's were like beautiful to look at. They had some like, they were more charming, but it was a nice break between the stressfulness of Mio's levels to then be like, oh, I'm gonna be a tree now.
I think that, yeah, I think Mio's levels are the most challenging. And I think Zoe's are more like, we are having fun. This is like there's one level where like Mio and Zoe's story, she turns into like an ape.
Yeah, that's when,
like that.
Yeah, and then I'm the tree. And it's like this whole connection to nature.
Zoe's levels are more puzzle oriented, whereas Mio's is platform oriented, where like you are reliant on like hopping from something A to B.
Well, I mean, you have fun in both of them. I just think there was more, everything just felt a little bit more stressful during Mio's levels. And I think it was partially like the scenery, there's lasers, there's all these things that are trying to kill you, versus in Zoe's, it's more like we're dragons, we're a tree. Like, they're fun. I mean, there was trolls that ran after us at one point, but like they didn't seem to have the high stakes as Mio's did. Not to say that they weren't great; they were all still great levels, but it was a nice break and like a pause moment between both.
Speaking of like these two like genres and like, you know, styles of gameplay, like this game has probably one of the most like visually compelling like endings ever. So like we're playing this game from the perspective of like a conventional split screen game where like I'm playing on my side and you're playing on your side. The worlds start to merge at the end of the game.
Do you think it would be possible to do a game where it was 100% like that?
I don't know.
And would you want it? Like, I know I've seen people talking about like, because it is really cool what they're doing. But like, if you had an entire game like that, would you like, I don't know, would you like lose your mind? Like trying to have that much like connectivity happening between those two?
You're referring to like, I'm in my world and you're in your world.
And then you can like cross over, yeah.
I think there was another game that was showcased at the Video Game Awards that like, it had like little cartoon looking characters and it looked like it had like this split screen aesthetic to it. But I don't know if that's actually possible. Maybe it is. I don't know. Like, it would have been a crazy experience because like it's very bonkers. Like, it reaches like Doctor Strange oriented, like there's like portals and everything that open up, and
well, yeah, I feel like once you get into like the weird like lily pads and the things, like when you're looking at an aerial view, I don't think you would do that for a whole game. That's like too trippy. But also when you're splitting between both the two realities, like you're going straight down, so you're kind of just like sliding in and out. Versus if it was a full game, I don't know technically how you would even do that, of like where the split would happen. Like, would it be constantly shifting like a side scroller?
What'd you think of the ending?
I mean, it's like bittersweet. You love that they finally get to publish a book. And it's funny, they published the book. It's called Split Fiction. So obviously it's their recount of everything that just happened. They're on their way to their, what's it called? There's a
publishing, book reading, book signing?
Book signing. I think it's a book signing.
I don't know. They're doing something.
They're doing an event.
They're doing something successful. I don't remember what it was.
With the release of the book.
But before they do it, Mio goes to visit her father's grave. He unfortunately passes away and stuff like that. And leaves the book at his grave. There's an interesting, I guess they're talking about the book. Like, it's been published, but they're not sure how successful the book is going to be. And there's like this commentary between them. They're like, do you think the story's going to do good? Like, do you think our book's going to do well? And it's almost like a commentary of like, is the game going to do well? Yeah. And like, what if like the game was shit? Like, but no, the game is very good. I think it's going to be at least nominated for Game of the Year. Like,
I could see this winning. I mean, I would not be surprised.
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, this is just like going off of like what I've seen at the Game Awards for like so many years. Like, I could foresee the voters being like, okay, it's similar to It Takes Two. It Takes Two already won, but we're still going to nominate this because this is like really, really good. I can foresee an original game coming into play, like being nominated, like Astrobot. That game was awesome. Like that was one of our favorite games of last year. And I can foresee a game like that, like an original piece. It's so frustrating because the Game Awards, like usually what wins is like, you know, original games or, well, no, that's when I love when an original game like Astrobot wins, but like it's usually like a Dark Souls kind of game or like a fantasy RPG like Baldur's Gate 3 where you fuck a bear.
It's cool, man. I mean, I think it's kind of dumb if they're not going to let this game win because a previous game by this group won. Like, that doesn't make sense. I mean, this game has everything to be Game of the Year. Like, it is, I find it more challenging as a game than It Takes Two. And I think the gameplay, it's not similar to It Takes Two at all. Like, I mean, it's a co-op game, but it's a whole different type of game. So it is still 100% unique. Yeah,
no, for sure. I like I said, I think it will definitely get nominated. I think it's so early in the year to it's way too early to make an assumption if this game will win. But like, no, I didn't. So far, this is my favorite game of the year. I think it sold like 2 million units or something like that. Like it did, yeah, that's how much it sold. Like, I think it's like first week or so. Like, which is funny because like, do you remember the story I told you about like when I bought the game? Mm-hmm. Do you want me to tell it?
You can.
Okay.
It's not offensive.
I was asking like make sure. So, I went to pre-order this game like on a Monday, the week it was coming out. It was coming out on a Friday. It was the Monday before. So basically, the game was coming out on a Thursday, and I was pre-ordering this the Monday before. It was within the week the game was coming out. And the guy at the counter was like, hey, listen, since you're pre-ordering this game, like, you know, within the week it's coming out, there's a chance that you might not get a copy on Thursday because you're not getting a pre-order copy. But what we can do is we can have more copies for you Friday. And I wasn't necessarily worried because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, it's going to be couples.
Now I remember why you asked if this was an offensive story to tell.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, because this company mainly makes co-op games, and these type of games are mainly played by couples. Mm-hmm. And gamers that demographic, some of them have girlfriends, a lot of them don't. So I wasn't too worried about.
Okay, but you could still play. This game can play with friends still. You could play with anybody. And I think It Takes Two lent itself to being like the couple game because you are playing as a couple. And obviously there's a lot of couples playing this game, but I'm sure there's plenty there's friends playing, and you can do online with this. So
there's an interesting like promotion where like
the promotion. Are you about to say the same thing?
It's the friend pass.
Yeah. Where you like like ships a friend to you in the box. Do you remember this?
Well, I know what you're talking about. So there's an actual thing where like if you get this game, there is a code that you can give to a friend, so you can, even if that friend did not buy the game, they can play it with you.
I didn't know that.
I believe that's what it is. But no, there is an interesting commercial where like if you don't have a friend,
they'll ship one to you.
And
it's really funny.
It's funny, but the back end of me is thinking like, is this human trafficking? Like it's
okay,
like
no,
like
just surface level humor. They're shipping you a friend because you want to play a game. Don't make it weird.
But it's just like they're in crates and stuff like that. I think that's what like got to me. I was like, that's
okay. Well, you're making it weird. It's just supposed to be funny. It's just shipping you a friend because, like you said, gamers don't have.
We are shipping you a
friend to play a game.
We're shipping you a person. It'd be worse if it was like shipping you a girlfriend to play the game, because that'd be like some what's that fucking Jack Quaid movie?
I was gonna say that's Companion. That's a different movie.
But yeah, no, like I could foresee this game winning Game of the Year. Like I said, it's just too early to tell, and I would like to see like what else comes out this year. Looking forward to Doom. That's gonna be great. I think we should talk about the secret level now. There were these two gamers who were playing this game. They posted this on Twitter of them completing this game. They recorded their playthrough, and when they got to the end, they are presented a video of the creator of this game, of It Takes Two, this whole company, this owner, and he's there congratulating them for beating this level. It's so hard that some of the people at the studio couldn't even beat it. And they are invited to their studio to see a sneak peek of their next game. It is the most, again, Willy Wonka bonkers thing. Like,
and so obviously I'm assuming we aren't the only ones who, after seeing this, like, okay, we got to try this now. So we went back after we finished the game.
I was so done
to try this. We did not get past the second
room. We didn't get past level 2. We each did get to the end of it,
yes.
But the problem is
never at the same time.
You have to get to the end of each level the same time. And if you get there before your partner, you are zapped. Like you have to get there at the same time. So
and
it's almost
if you die,
like,
you go all the way back.
Right.
So imagine if is Split Fiction possible if you made a co-op game that had those rules? Because I feel like nobody, it's like, what's your game? Hades?
Right.
Hades plus co-op.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that even doable? That would be a nightmare, especially for the people who are couples where one's a gamer, one's a not. Like, you would just never get through it.
I was like thinking,
because that secret level is like true co-op. You are relying on each other to get something done.
It's a different vein of difficult because like there's so much maneuvering and you have to make sure that lasers don't touch you. But like, no, this was really hard. I can foresee hardcore players trying to play this, and I could see like numerous people like getting through this. Mm-hmm. I think what also adds to like the secret levelness and the reason why these guys were invited is because you would not have been able to find this level. I assume that they had to look up some code or whatever. That's just my assumption. But like the fact that like you have to stand on these platforms and you have to look at the number above.
Well, they would have had to figure that out. Like they saw all the numbers. And
right. But that's something that is easily like missed.
Well, yeah.
Like I don't know how they did that. But overall, I mean, like I will never play that level again. But the overall game, again, this is going to be another game that like will live on in our relationship. I believe it's like the third game we've beaten together, right? In terms of a co-op game.
Yes.
We've done Super Mario Wonder. We did It Takes Two. We've done Split Fiction. We've played other games before, but they're not necessarily co-op. You've sat with me while I played Silent Hill 2. I beat Astrobot. You haven't beaten that yet.
I mean, like, I beat it with you. I was there while
But you were
beat
sitting
it.
next to me. Yeah, but you didn't actually.
But I
like,
got mostly through my own
Yeah.
version of it.
But yeah, no, I think I'm very curious to see where this game goes for sure. I think it deserves the hype that it's getting.
It's a game everybody should play. It is a fun game. I would definitely recommend. I think we talked about, like, if we ever played it again, like, would it be a different experience if we switched characters? Could you get different, like, power-ups and stuff throughout? And I think it could be still a very fun game to do it again and swap.
This company is like becoming like almost like kind of like a Pixar level company, like where in terms of the video game industry, where like each of their releases have been really impactful. Like they're becoming like a household company that, like, when they release a game, we're gonna buy it, obviously.
They're in the niche of co-op games too, and so I think there's something special for co-op games because people get excited to play with others or their partner or whoever that you might not. It's a very different type of game from Silent Hill and all the other games you guys play.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Looking forward to more gaming content. Gonna be trying to do a little bit more of those soon. The Nintendo Switch 2 is being announced like next week. There's like a Nintendo Direct. Like, hopefully we'll get like a announcement of like the release date, and maybe pre-orders will be up. Hopefully scalpers don't f up my day, because that would be really, really bad.
Switches are going to be going for like $3,000 as soon as they get their hands on them.
Please don't put that out in the open. Like, I want to have a good day next week.
I've seen what's happened to Pokemon, and it's brutal out there.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Let's pray to God that I get a Switch 2. Bye, guys.
Bye.